Welcome into another episode of Q&A with Pastor Andrew F. Carter. Today I have my lovely wife with me, Kyra Lynn Carter, here with us as she is tearing up the set today and acting absolutely chaotic. We love it. You guys welcome her in. We've got some good questions that we're going to talk about today. But first off, how are you doing?
Right now, I'm doing good.
Yeah. Doing better?
Feeling better.
Feeling better.
Starving. I haven't ate. It's like 9 a.m. If you guys wanted to know.
If only somebody would make her some food.
You did.
Oh, did I?
But I didn't have time because I was getting ready.
Gotcha. So somebody's on the set is not hungry. Somebody is.
Yeah.
And that is because said somebody didn't eat.
I had to get ready.
And it was fire too. Marinated chicken thighs, boneless and skinless, with rice. So kind of like a chicken fried rice with onions. Absolutely amazing. So good. It's waiting for you when you get back to the house. So we'll keep this shorter and sweeter. So I have a question for you. The question is, what is the best way to handle a family member that comes into your home, right? The audacity, and immediately starts saying nasty things about your faith because they saw your Bible sitting out. What would you do?
See, this is the problem with these type of questions. Because
let them know.
Well, because I just feel like people care so much about other people's feelings.
Well, isn't that what we're supposed to do as Christians? What would Jesus do? But don't let me stop you. Just tell the people what you would do.
You're correct. But I'm just saying, for when people ask me, I'm just straightforward. I'm going to give you just my real, raw, and transparent. Because, I could give you like a really beautiful like Christian response.
No, don't do that. Give us the real. Tell us. Just tell us.
But for me, immediately if somebody were to start speaking like nasty about my faith, one, I could just let things go, and I don't take things personal, and I don't have to debate, and I don't have to argue with that person. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Furthermore, I know the same way they came into my house is the same way they can walk out there.
So you're saying don't let the door hit you where God splits you.
No, and so that's kind of tricky, especially if it's a family member. We've seen this before. We've seen young Christians come into faith, but their parents are not. And they're just like, well, my parents aren't believers and I don't know how to handle it. And they're always talking about my Christianity or that I believe in fairy tales. They kind of deal with a lot of things. So I'm going to be sensitive here. Yeah. In regards to that, is that whatever you are doing, that means you're doing something right, even if it's your own parents who are responding in what I like to say in a way in which the enemy can attack you, and it is through people. And so one way in which an enemy will attack you is, shockingly enough, they will even use your own parents to kind of put you in a place to where you feel like you are doing something wrong and that you shouldn't have faith in God, that you shouldn't be following Jesus. And more so, you're just kind of like, well, if my parents don't agree, maybe I should kind of back off. And if anything, this is your time to push forward. This is your time to kind of let your parents know, hey, I believe in the Lord. To me, the Lord is real. I'm going to continue to pray for you guys and hope that you guys can find Jesus too. Your main goal here at this point is just to more so set an example to your family members. Don't be like me. Don't just ignore them or brush them off.
Right. It's passive aggressive.
Yeah, definitely. I got issues, but
we all
more so. No, it's just really about how you handle it. Handle it well. In all atmospheres, but your main point is just to make sure that you're the best representation of Jesus in those situations when you do face your family members who kind of don't believe in your faith, brush your faith off. But in your sense, your question was talk dirty about your faith or talk bad about your faith.
Talk nasty.
So talk nasty. That was a very specific, I heard. And that's why I was to me, I would kind of just ignore it. It's not just somebody who's just brushing off your faith.
Right.
I don't believe in Jesus, so it's fine if you do. It's somebody who's actually talking about what you believe in. That's why I just kind of let it go and brush it off.
Yeah. See, you're a better person than I am because, again, I'm not going to take that disrespect and not to because there's a south side of heaven. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I'll lay hands on you.
Holy hands.
And holy hands. And I'll pray for you. But the thing is if that a family member is talking now, there's a difference between disagree. You can disagree with me. I don't need you to agree with everything that I believe. That's totally fine. But if you're going to come into my home and start disrespecting my faith, then that's probably going to be the last time you're come into my house.
So you're talking to your sky daddy?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm just going to say, I am. And he tells me, you got to go. He tells me that you can no longer be here. What I've found is that the light in me will irritate the darkness in others.
100%.
And that happens
100%.
over and over and over again. And kind of to your point, it is... it's confirmation that this individual is doing something right. We are going to be persecuted. We're going to be looked down upon. We're going to be questioned. There's going to be opposition in the spiritual realm. It is spiritual warfare manifesting in the persons of your family member. And so the fact, like who does that? Who comes into somebody's house and immediately starts talking poor about stuff? It's like, oh, I can't believe there's dishes in your sink. And like, oh man, look at the dust.
Like with intention.
On this. Like,
right?
and, oh, look at your faith. And it's just like, that person, that doesn't sound like a very happy person to be around. They probably won't be invited to my next get together personally. But that's a great answer.
Yeah.
I think that you took the high road. I took the narrow road. That's not super.
Every situation's different.
Good.
That one was specific.
Yeah. Well, this is another question I have for you. And we can both take a turn answering this. I want you to go first. Where does your inspiration for technological ministry come from? Where does your inspiration for what you do on social media? So you have a pretty large following on TikTok and Instagram, and we've talked about this. You haven't posted in some time, and that's going to change in the near future. But what's your inspiration for that, or maybe even the church? Many people don't know that you oversee and run a lot of the Royal City Church ministry online stuff. Where's your inspiration come from?
I don't know.
You don't know?
The Lord.
Okay. Their inspiration comes
The
from
Lord.
above. Okay.
That's definitely a number one response.
The Lord gives me the inspiration. The Lord.
I don't know. It just comes to me. I know it's so it's
so
weird.
do you look at other people's pages like Craig Groeschel, Stephen Furtick? Are you looking and gleaning? Are there any influencers that are inspiration to you? Okay. You're not just sitting there going, I got an idea. No, like what's inspiring you?
I would say that well, I'm just gonna speak on my own content. I guess it is just kind of like observing other people. What are the topics that people want to know about? I guess that's kind of the main inspiration. There we go. Okay, we can work off of that. I usually make content based off of what y'all want. And I know that because a lot of you guys will comment and like on like other people's posts or my husband's posts, like, or comment on like his YouTube or things, like specific things that you guys want. And I can be honest with you guys, a lot of you guys want to hear about relationships. So I talk a lot about relationships, like godly men, godly women, how to like marriage, things of that nature. Yeah. So my inspiration kind of comes based off of what people want to know about and want to dive into.
That's good. That's good. I would say my inspiration very similarly, it comes from what's being talked about. But to add to what you said, how you say it comes from the Lord, I get what you're saying because it does.
Yeah.
So it's being observative, like what is that a word? Observative?
Observant.
No. Thank you. Yeah.
Which is weird because he's usually
observant?
Correcting my vocabulary.
Well, I know there's going to be a caption that's going to say observative. And it's going to have a red squiggly line because it's like, bro, that's not a word.
We'll have the production team make sure that they do it exactly like that.
So I'm observative and I'm out here observing things. And what's trending, what people are talking about. And I'm not like a headline chaser where I'm like waiting for the next big scandal so I can speak on it. It's more so,
So you're not going to talk about Jay-Z and Beyonce?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Yeah. No Jay or Bay. Not going to talk about
Jay or Bay.
Or Bay. Neither of them. No, I will not. But I will talk about things that people are hungering for. If you would just be quiet and pay attention, you can see what people are longing for. Right now in this season, not because I've done a study or read statistics, loneliness is at an all-time high. People are feeling lonely at a higher rate. And so for this season, my content will come from the inspiration of the Lord, like you said, but also by being observative and paying attention to what's taking place in the world around us. And so it's the culmination of the Holy Spirit speaking, intimacy with God, an overflow of time spent with Him, and then speaking to a subject that the masses are kind of wrestling with. So Yeah.
That's good.
That's my inspiration. So
Yes.
very similar
Same.
to your same.
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 Yeah.
Interesting. Let me see. I know I've got some more questions here.
That's a good question. In regards to your question, have we seen a big difference? I'm gonna say this. You do not have to repeat what I say.
I'm not
Give
good.
your own
I'm going to tell the
opinion,
truth,
please.
the whole truth.
I haven't seen a major change anywhere. From the day we met to even now with a kid, like when I say like my opinion, we are best friends, and that happened so early on. Like we immediately became best friends. We immediately got attached to each other. We understood what an equally yoked marriage is, even while dating, because that's what we were striving for. This is also probably why we were only engaged for like 7 months, dating for 7 months, and then we were engaged for 1 month, and then quickly married, because when you know, you know. So it was one of those situations, and then even all while pre-baby, same thing, just best friends. We laugh at everything, we do everything together, we travel together, we just handle things like completely together. There's not really much that I do single-handedly or that he does single-handedly without each other. And then obviously after baby, I think this is why, just like we're still best friends, just best friends with a lot of tension with the newborn. But not much has changed, no. And I understand how a lot of it does, how one sees another person falling off or the other person's falling off. To me, I haven't seen a big change, so you can.
Oh yeah, I've seen a lot of changes actually. she catfished me first.
Oh, I forgot. This is his favorite thing.
It's not my favorite thing to talk about because I got catfished. Okay, so this is an L for me. Before I met my wife, she had a lot of pictures of fitness. I thought that she was a fitness influencer, right? And you're talking to a guy who's still into fitness. I love to exercise. So that's exactly what I'm talking about. So I came into this relationship thinking that we were gonna be going hiking and backpacking and like going to the gym together like swole mates, you know what I mean? Like getting after it. And so when we met during the pandemic, I'm just like, oh, we just got to wait till this pandemic things open up, bro. We're about to get after it. We're about to adventure everywhere. This woman does not like exercise. She's allergic to it. She works out with pandemic open once a week, if that, maybe twice a month, 3 times a month.
To my defense, I just had a baby.
Okay, well, we're talking.
He's talking about.
We're talking about before the baby,
I just always have to have an
before
so right
the
now,
pregnancy. That was the biggest change. There was a projection. It was this catfish image of fitness, and
that was the biggest change.
That's the biggest change
in the whole relationship.
Oh, absolutely,
you gonna talk about fitness out of it?
100%. Because fitness is such a big part of my life. So, but I'll say this in your defense: the one thing that has been great is that because you don't like fitness, you don't force me to not like it. You give me so much space and time to take care of that. Definitely. Like, you know, you'll even encourage, hey, you need to go to the gym, right? Like get out of the house, go to the gym. Exactly. So that was the cool part, but that was a huge change where I'm like expecting one thing and then the world opens back up. I'm like, let's go to the gym. She's like, I'm good. I'm like, no, let's go. It's open. She's like, ah.
So then here's a question, because obviously that just sounds like perfect. Oh, we haven't seen much change. Like we just knew each other from the beginning and we were so equally yoked. What are some people, let's talk about like, even like people who we've given like marriage counseling to, couples therapy or counseling to, or advice. What are some things that people see that fall off? Like what is it? Like a husband who gets addiction to like addicted to porn.
Sex is a big one. Is and you see this in relationships all the time. Is women are like trying to like sell the package, and so they're doing all this stuff, weird stuff in weird places, but then they get married and all that falls off. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Or, and again, you're supposed to wait until you're married to have sex.
Yes,
obviously, that's what you're supposed to do. But I'm talking to real people in real life. Yeah. Like a lot of these people who are watching this might not be saved. They might be shacked up having sex, but that's one thing that you talk to people about. Or even they did wait till marriage. So basically, so sex is something that people have talked about. Even in marriage, maybe that honeymoon phase, that first year, they're exploring, they're having all the sex, but then after life starts getting going and moving forward, maybe they do have a baby, maybe they do have jobs, and maybe there are more responsibilities. That intimacy and that desire to explore one another kind of decreases. So that's something that you hear fall off. What about you?
Something I hear, honestly, like communication. Because communication is something you have to have for the rest of your life with your partner.
For sure.
And every season looks different. And so the communication that worked 6 months ago, honestly, might not work within this season, right? Because maybe there's a whole like boatload of stuff that the wife's going through, or a boatload of stuff that the husband's going through. So communication just looks different.
Wow.
Or maybe, a husband gets a new job and he's promoted, but it causes for him to travel a lot more. So communication is going to look different. And so it's always keeping up with the latest communication with your partner and what that looks like. We see that like fall off. And if that doesn't get like fixed kind of early on, that kind of actually starts separating people in marriages or relationships because their communication is just so completely off.
That's good.
So it's something I always hear.
Yeah. So what are some things, or one thing, whatever, that surprised you about me during pregnancy or after pregnancy? Was I all the hype that I hyped myself up to be?
No, I'm kidding. Let me think. Okay, so I've always have been such an independent person. So getting into a marriage, that was actually tricky. Being so high in the independence field and getting into a marriage, that's something I had to actually learn to break, because you shouldn't be so highly independent in a marriage. Not that you need to depend on your partner, but there's this like partnership that you need to create within that marriage immediately. So that's something I had to learn disconnect from, which was hard. That took me a couple of years, more or less. But in regards to that, I would say that when I got pregnant, I turned on that independence, like flicker again thingy. Because I started to get into like, oh, I got this, like I can move, like I could still go to church, I could still work, I could still lift this, I can still do that, and I can still, and then it was like a battle sometimes, because you'd be like, don't lift that, don't move that, don't do this, stop moving that, you're not supposed to do that.
And not just me, everybody would tell, hey, you shouldn't be doing that. And I could hear her, she'd be like, okay, I won't. But then they'd turn around and she would do it anyway.
But I was fine.
See, there's that pride again.
Did I die?
There's that pride again.
So that's one thing. You were amazing, and not that it surprised me, but it was just more like you were heavy on that. Like, you don't have to always do everything alone. You don't have to feel like you're alone in this pregnancy. And so you did a great job, I would say, making sure like, okay, my wife is who my wife is. I know my partner. I know who she is.
Oh boy, do I know her.
But at the same time, like you stayed consistent on making sure, like, you know, like, okay, what are we going to eat? You got to make sure you ate. Have you ate today? Have you drank your water? And he was like, you were just really consistent, I would like to say.
That
you were really there, and you were really supportive throughout the whole pregnancy. Labor was great because like you did your own thing when I was doing my own thing, like, you know, while we were like waiting out the contractions. And then when it came time to turn on like the push switch, like everything was off. You were right there.
Coach Carter showed up.
And she came out in 20 minutes.
Yeah. I was Coach Carter. I got back to my old, you know, come on, you can push, keep going, let's go. Yeah. You got this, breathe, 1, 2, 3, push.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so side note, so irrelevant, but pregnancy, pushing a baby out. This is just what worked for me. Okay, I'm not going to say it's going to work for everybody.
Oh, are you about to plagiarize what the nurse told you?
Yeah.
No.
Listen, this is the best advice. This is the best advice. So you know that you're not pushing incorrectly, okay? And so you're not giving like you're not getting bloodshot eyes, or like, you know, your face is getting all red.
I need to right now insert a gore warning.
All I'm gonna say is
gore
this,
warning.
Okay? When you give birth, you have to push like you're pooping, like full intention. Push like you're pooping. Don't do anything else. Just poop. Literally poop. Here, I didn't poop. But if you poop, that's what they want. She made it very clear. She's like, I don't care what, like you got to act like you're giving the biggest dump of your life, and you're trying to get that poop out. And I said, okay, bet.
This
like,
is
I could do that.
Family Christian.
And she said, you know what? Like, if you actually poop, we see it all the time. Just know that you're using the right muscles. We want you to actually poop. So I was like, all right, cool. So I took out that fear of like most women do, like, oh my goodness, what if I poop when I'm giving birth?
How many times has she said poop?
that's okay, because I can't use another word because I don't cuss. Anyway, that's besides the point. Point is that what happened was I went for it. And I just went, and I just acted like I just had to, relieve myself. And I think that's what got that baby out in 20 minutes. Okay. And it helped when I have like my own personal coach, like, come on, baby, you got this. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, let's go. Push. And we pushed together, Did you push with me?
Oh, I think my eyes were bloodshot. I was holding my breath. I was sweating.
Gum. You need gum.
Yeah.
Like, don't feel like that's weird, like to chew your gum. Like, I had gum in my mouth. It was like a whole process. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of pushing. And then you let it go. And then you chew your gum. And then you do it again. Best practice.
And then you get a baby. A beautiful baby.
Worked for me. And I didn't tear. But that's different.
I feel like at this point, we have shared TMI.
You're welcome.
How do we close this?
The whole point is that you were great during my pregnancy.
Okay, so I'm synonymous with poop, is basically what you're saying. Hey, how did Andrew do? Oh, poop. A dozen times. I don't know if we're going to post this one.
No, I think that's great.
Okay.
I think
on your
any
page.
woman who's watching that needs to know.
Q&A with Kyra Lynn Carter.
A baby out, now you might know how to.
Okay.
Don't
You're
use
out
any other muscle.
You're saving lives.
Use your abs. Don't just like that type of poop.
So you're saving lives out here.
What are some things that you should look for in a future godly spouse?
I feel like you want to answer this.
No, I don't. What are some things you looked for in me?
I don't know. I just trusted God.
Oh, you trust?
I wasn't, I don't know. I wasn't like looking. It's hard to explain. I wasn't looking for a spouse. I wasn't necessarily searching. And so, a lot of people right now they long to be in a relationship. I was happily doing things my way and by myself. And so, it wasn't something that I specifically went out and looked for. I feel like if people would just seek God first and make him first and be okay with being alone with him, that the right person will come at the right time. And because you're so close to God and so tuned into his voice, you'll recognize the right person. Mm-hmm. I don't think, and that's just it. A lot of people have lists of all of these things. And what I think is happening is people are sometimes missing the person that God has for them because they're so consumed by looking for these characteristics in a person. Because I can say, you might have looked for certain characteristics, but I wasn't the man that I am today that I was when you found me. I was still really rough around the edges, and I would probably check off more red flag boxes than green flag boxes. I think that many times you saw the potential in me more so than the full package of what I was in that moment. So you could have had these ideas of the man that you wanted, but I can say that I probably wasn't that man that checked all of those boxes. I might have had the attributes or the qualities, but I was really far from that. So I don't like to get to, these are what you should be looking for, because what happens is sometimes men or women will pretend to be these things in order to get what they want. They'll bag what they're trying to get after, and then then they're somebody else. And so I can sit here and say, well, the qualities you should look for are someone who reads their Bible and prays and has a scripture in their bio and has an amazing smile. And then you've got wolves in sheep clothing checking off the boxes, pretending to be those. And now I'm leading you astray into a relationship that got your heart broken. And you're looking at me like, Pastor Andrew, he clicked all the boxes and he was supposed to be all these things, and he was, but then he turned out to be something else and led me astray. So
God gives you the answer.
Seek God first. That's good relationship advice.
Yeah.
Get to know him. Be intimate with the Creator, and he's going to point to you the person who's right for you.
That's good.
In the right time. So thank you guys for watching another episode of Q&A with Pastor Andrew F. Carter. And again, my lovely wife was my co-host today, Miss Kyra Lynn Carter. You guys let her know in the comment section how much you appreciate her here, how much you appreciate her commentary, the things that she's sharing. She gives a whole new perspective to what the Carters are about. So if you guys have questions for us specifically about marriage, relationships, parenting, children, or you just want to know more about our ministry, let us know in the comment section. Do me a favor, before you go, subscribe, turn on the notifications, and share this video with at least one person that you love. You never know who might need to to hear what it is that we're talking about. Until next time, you guys have a good one, and we'll see you later.